Do whatever you can to get what to $100,000 by age 37. Let me show you some spreadsheets that show you the actual numbers. Again, what we do on this channel is use the returns, actual historical returns, the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, which includes the depression years, and we project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They result in simply a possible range of what may happen. But let's look at some numbers. Here's somebody, $100,000, never adds another dime. And we're going to run it for every single year for the last 100 years. If somebody's 37 years old, by the time they get to age 67, which is their full Social Security age, that'd be 30 years. Here's the 30-year column for every single uh, return for the last 100 years from 1925 on. Again, here's the amount put in, $100,000. I want you to notice in this column, for looking at the last 100 years for every 30-year period, the worst case scenario you're going to find is here in red, 1.147. The median of this column is 2.171, and the highest you're going to see is 4.755. When's this 1.147? Surprise, surprise, it's 1929. Why do I say that? Because 1929 was the beginning of the Depression. 4 down years, up a little, up some, down some more, down 35, and down 3 more years. And yet, even in that scenario, you would have reached $1 million. That's in the worst case scenario. Let's look at it a different way. Again, we create spreadsheets to help people see these numbers. Here we got $100,000, somebody age 37. Let's say right now they're expecting to need $5,000 a month. So over the next, from 37 to 67 is 30 years. If we increase this 5,000 by the rate of inflation of 3%, you're going to need $12,000, $12,136. Now, if you go to socialsecurity.com, type in your annual income, it's going to give you what you're going to be expected to get at age 67, which I just ran the numbers at 1,800. Now, realize this 1,800 is going to grow for the next 30 years. We're just going to grow it at 2.5%. That's the current COLA that's being given right now. So we're just going to run that. So over the next 30 years, it's 1,800. You're going to have 3776 in 30 years. So why are we saying all this? If you take your expected expenses, your expected Social Security, you're going to need 8,361 from your nest egg. How will that work if you just put $100,000 in, never add another dime? Folks, in the worst case scenario, in the next 30 years, they're like the last 100 years for a 30-year period, you would have a case where you'd run out of money in 18 years. Let's look at the actual numbers here. 30 years, you'd have $1.147 million. Then you start taking out this 8,361, and this is when you would run out of money right there. That's 14 years later. But folks, that is the worst case scenario. If you look at any of the other these columns, you're not running out of money. This is a 95% success rate. Going down through here, you don't see any of these other areas where you actually run out of money. Only that year right there, 1929. Let's look at what would happen if you take Social Security a year earlier. That's when you start seeing these numbers change. Now, if you have one less year for Social Security to grow and one less year for this 100,000 to grow, so what would you have? Be running out of money in 16 years. You take it at age 65, you're running out of money in 14 years. Take it at age 64, now you're running out of money in 13 years, but also 5% of the time you'd actually be running out of money in 29 years or less. Still a very high success rate, money lasting 29 years. If you go take it at age 63, again, what are we doing? We're reducing the time for this 1,800 to grow. You're also getting less percentage. Instead of getting 100% of this amount at age 67, you're only getting 75% of it. So now we see at age 63, worst case scenario, again, that was 1929. Your money's run out in 11 years. 5% of the time, your money be running out in 23 years or less, but 95% of the time, your money be lasting at least 23 years. Let's go to age 62. Now we've got it dropping down 10% of the time, you'd actually run out of money in 24 years or less. But 90% of the time, your money would last at least 24 years. But again, get that 100,000 in there. Watch what happens if we just go back to age 67 and just add a little bit of money to this. Right now, we're running out of money in 18 years. Watch what happens if we do $200 a month. All of a sudden, your money's lasting over 40 years. Why? Because not only is 100,000 growing, but this 200 is growing. So you're putting in this kind of money, and in the end, you don't run out of money, even in the worst case scenario in the last 100 years. What about at age 66? Still don't run out of money. See the importance of getting that 100,000 right off the bat? If you can get that by age 37 and can have 30 years till you retire, in this case, we're down to 29 years, you're still okay. What about at age 65? Still lasting over 40 years. 64, now it's starting to have some problems, running out of money. But again, folks, this was 1929 numbers. Other scenarios, you have no problems. You have a 95% success rate, at least lasting over 40 years. Again, that's what we do on this channel, just showing you the importance of some of these principles that I put out there, like Charlie Munger saying, get that 100,000. Then you don't have to add a whole lot. And look at this, folks. If you're getting this kind of money from Social Security, that's going to grow. If you take it at age 64 again, you're only getting 84% of that. So that's why we figured all that in there. But that's what we do on this channel. We run all kinds of different numbers for people, just showing them where they might be. But the point of this video is try to get to that 100,000 as early as you can so you can have these 30 years for it to grow. Now, if you get it at age, if you have 26 years, if you get it at age, 30, at age 41, then you'd have 618,000 in the worst case scenario. You wouldn't quite be there. If we change this one right here to age 41, and we take away the $200 a month, now we've got some issues going all the way out, going through your, why? Because you waited, you didn't get to the 100,000 quite as early as you'd like. But again, if you just add $200 a month, now your money's lasting over 40 years, 90% of the time it's lasting over 30 years. How about $300 a month? Now you got a 90% success rate of your money lasting over 40 years, even a 95% success rate that your money's going to last at least 29 years. We always look at the worst case scenario. Is that going to happen in the future to have the returns that are as horrible as the depression type years? If they would happen to be that way, look at what $100,000 could do, starting at age 41, if you add $300 a month. But again, that's what we do on this channel. We just love running numbers for people. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. Let people know there's a channel out there that will run numbers for them. And we just love pointing out some of these principles that people are pointing out, the 4% rule, getting to 100,000, and things like that. The main thing is get the compounding effect working for you, like you can see in this graph. These are 1929 returns, folks. If you were just in it for 35 years, investing $250 a month, you'd have $2 million. But that's for another video. Thanks again for watching.